These fish look like turbocharged, tough trout.
No way! I can't believe how many times these fish jump.
These fish have big teeth, they've got tough mouths, and they're just really aggressive. Not only do they readily take flies, but they're super acrobatic. Fishing for golden Dorado is kind of a new frontier.
LL Bean Guide to the Outdoors is brought to you by Primaloft, advanced insulation technology for hunting gear, proven warm even when wet. By Swarovski Optic, and by Mossy Oak. It's not a passion, it's an obsession.
Well, to get to northern Argentina, you really need to use Buenos Aires as the hub. I flew Portland, Oregon to Miami, and then Miami to Buenos Aires. From there, a 2-hour flight north to the city of Salta will get you kind of in the general area to fish for golden Dorado. From there, we drove a couple hours to kind of base our first fishing adventure on the Juramento River. It's a river that's open to the public, but they're not supposed to keep golden Dorado, so there was a good population of golden Dorado. I kept on hearing from everybody that fishes for golden Dorado that you're really going to need to cast right into the trees on the banks of the river and looking for pocket water because these fish want to hold in slow water. The Juramento River had a lot of dirty clay banks, so when the river fluctuates even a little bit, it does wash a lot of sediment into the water. So the water's not overly clean. I'd say the visibility on the Juramento River was maybe 2 feet, and that was another reason why you need to put your fly right in front of the fish to get them to strike.
Okay, so here we go. You got a weighted fly, saltwater, crazy big. You got some wire, what, 30-pound or something?
30-pound wire.
We got our tippet.
20-pound tippet.
So the whole leader is maybe section. 7 feet?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we are not making long casts at all. We are casting 35 feet tops.
Good, because I'm not very good at that.
I know. But you can ask your brother to give you a lesson or two.
Yeah.
And then you cast, mend, so you keep the fly as long as possible.
Next to the shore?
Next to the place where you want to put the fly, you think where Dorado is. And when the current start taking the fly out, probably 3-5 feet, then you recast again. You don't have to fall.
So why aren't we fishing right now? Because you're talking.
We are talking.
Let's keep
Vamos.
going.
You go in front.
How come you're never doing any of the work? I noticed that.
Because I've done it for so many years, Tim, that I deserve a little break once in a while.
You know what that is?
Martin Carranza's Andes Outfitters has been in operation since 1987. Martin and his staff offer strategically located destinations for their clients to access the finest fly fishing that Argentina has to offer.
I haven't fished much all over the world. I fished some in the US, mainly in the Northeast. The fishing is completely different. First of all, we can float 30 kilometers of river and you don't see any other fishermen. That's a big difference. Whereas where I fish, for example, in the Henry's Fork in Idaho, it's one angler every 50 yards. So that's a big difference.
Tim Rajeff was fortunate to have the opportunity to sample Andes goods at their flagship trout fishing lodge, the Chime Lodge, located on the banks of the fabled Chimehuan River. After sampling the phenomenal trout fishing of Patagonia, Tim has been invited to remain in Argentina and head north for an intrepid adventure with Martin and one of his longtime guides, Emiliano, into a remote region of northern Argentina to fish for voracious golden Dorado.
We fish the Juramento River in rafts, and it's a pretty tame river. It's not very steep gradient. In fact, Martin Carranza, our host, said that when he was a kid and when he was first learning to fish this river recently, they would just float the river. They'd have their fly rods and their stuff in a waterproof bag, and they would just literally swim the river and go downstream because the water's like 75 degrees. It's this perfect little swimming pool with fish that weigh 30 pounds ready to eat your fly in it.
Eso!
When we return, more golden Dorado action from Argentina.
Espectacular. Nice.
As far as Dorado, well, this is unique. There are no Dorado in the US or Europe. They are mainly a South American fish. And this is the best place to fly fish for Dorado in Argentina.
Though a relative newcomer in the world of adventure fly fishing, the golden Dorado of South America is fast becoming a highly sought-after fish species by globe-trekking fly fishermen. This fish derives its name Dorado from the Spanish for golden, which accurately describes the striking glow of this predator's flanks. However, the name is rather confusing to anglers more familiar with the popular offshore Pacific species of the same name, which is in no way related to this freshwater denizen of the Amazon and Plata River systems. Coupling an English adjective with the Spanish version hardly clarifies the nomenclature, but regardless, the golden Dorado is a top-rate game fish capable of reaching immense size. Like most piscivores, Dorado have large heads with powerful jaws filled with sharp teeth. The average between 6 and 25 pounds, but the largest golden Dorado ever recorded tipped the scales at a whopping 68 pounds.
The area that looked really promising was right below the dam. They have a dam that generates hydroelectric power, and it's also used for flood control. The area below the dam has a lot of fast current, and I was really surprised that golden Dorado would hold in fast water. They seem to be kind of ambush predators.
These guys here, they treat this like a normal day's fishing, where you go below a dam and throw stuff that I wouldn't even dream of fishing in freshwater. And these are the kind of flies we've been using to try and catch golden Dorado. We're just below the dam, kind of in the middle section of the Juramento River in northern Argentina. It's very cool stuff.
It was surprising that in that area just below the dam, these fish were holding right out in the current, waiting for some of the small fish that would get injured if they got passed through the turbines on the dam.
Eso, eso. Buena. Zeta hook. Eso.
Martin broke the ice, he stuck a fish, and it was really cool to kind of look downstream and see this bright yellow fish doing cartwheels, and it was so cool that these fish, not only they readily take flies, but they're super acrobatic.
¿Martín, vos lo sacó o te ayudo?
No, está bien. Check him out.
Te ayudo. Nice. Muy buena.
Sweet.
Espectacular. Nice fish.
Beautiful,
Look at
eh?
its tail, it's been
Where is your mother? Where is your
the
mother?
gravel. I see what you mean about them. Beautiful colors. Nice.
So put him back.
Okay,
Okay,
let's put
now-
him back.
Got your mother. Okay.
Okay. Nice.
Nice.
No more skunk, huh?
No more skunk.
Okay, Martínez.
My golden Dorado came just at the beginning of the swing of the fly. I kind of did the typical thing where you cast across the current, make amend, and as soon as my line went tight, I started to give a little strip, and bang, there's the fish.
Yeah! Yeah! Great! Excelente! Nice!
Sweet. You guys do this all the time, huh?
Yeah!
This is crazy. These
Excelente!
fish are just nuts.
You got it!
I can't believe a fish
Yeah,
like this would want to jump so much. And you get these things like 20 or 30 pounds in this river?
Yeah!
Yeah. You're
Of
nuts.
course!
Can't believe you guys. This is so cool.
Yeah! You think the big monster here? Oh,
No way.
yeah! Great!
What's gratifying is once you hook these fish, they just come exploding out of the water. So you never kind of question whether you've got them or not. It's like, boom, I got the fish, and in front of you is this bright yellow fish doing cartwheels. And these fish will jump a half a dozen times by the time you get them close to you.
Wow. Look at the colors on this fish. Unbelievable. It's got a black slash on its tail.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sí, señor. Sí, señor.
Tell you what, thank you so
Excelente.
much. You
Very,
wanna
very good.
grab the fish? Got it?
I was warned ahead of time that when you hook a golden Dorado and you try and release it, keep your hands away from their teeth. These fish have got razor sharp teeth, and that's why you use wire leader for all your Dorado fishing.
You use the pliers.
Yes. Better.
So these things have a lot of big teeth.
Opa! Yes. Hey, another one. Yeah, Martin.
Doubles.
Doubles.
Sweet.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Very, very good. Your first Dorado.
Nice.
Ready? Ah, hello,
Good
baby.
release. So Martin,
Nice.
you got one. You
Congratulations.
better go help him. Thanks,
Yeah.
man. Woohoo!
Hey, Martínez.
Doradoville. So Martin,
Yes.
you're fishing with a sink tip. Do you
Yes.
do this often, or do you usually just all
Well,
floating
it
line?
depends, floating or sinking. It depends on the conditions. In this case, you know, we thought that we should, I mean, you thought actually. We should try
Aquí una
different
línea.
things.
Nice. Ahora que hay otra línea.
Good job.
Beautiful.
You have two helpers. You know, you hooked yours
Yeah.
exactly the same spot as me. Hang on. That was like a TV show right there, Josh. Let's see if we can slip it out of our hands.
Okay.
Nice
Good.
job.
You go. Nice.
Muy bien.
Bueno, Martínez. Bueno.
You know, just to fish with Tim Rajeff, it's just like, you know, being taught how to throw a ball by Tom Brady, or, you know, just to learn how to drive by Schumacher. It's so much fun. I mean, when we read in the magazines about this Tim Rajeff writing an article on how to cast far, and we being so far away and without all the resources, like not getting magazines or videos or anything, I mean, you expect them to be like some other semi-fishing gods that we had, but he's, you know, just like your friend. He's an average guy. I mean, he's your buddy.
Tim obliges Martin's request to attend a meeting at a local fly fishing club. Argentina's isolation is a blessing when it comes to uncrowded waters, but first-hand access to a world-class flycaster are rare, and a good crowd turns out to watch Tim do his thing.
Bueno, if the tip travels in a curve, like a painting an igloo, you get a wide lead. Right? So everything I'm telling you now is only style. You should not always use the same style as me. I hope to show you some different styles, and then you can practice and see which one is best for you.
Different times of the day you can expect Dorado, either out in the flats, they talk about them cruising, and out in the open water you'll see bait flying out of the water, but during the middle of the day they seem to be hunkered down along the shore and are tougher to catch.
La puso, ¿eh?
Ah, did you see that fish?
Yeah.
That was a good fish.
What's fun about fishing for golden Dorado is that when you get a chance to drift through the river and you're kind of banging the banks, the guide's all excited because you know at any point you could catch a 30 or 40 pound golden Dorado. What's a little bit intimidating for me is to be fishing kind of what I call trout water, you know, hitting pockets and stuff, but doing it with a 9 weight and a fly that's about 8 inches long and 40 pound test wired leader. I mean, heck, I wouldn't even think about using that kind of stuff to fish for pike. I mean, this is like one step above that because you're banging the banks really hard, stripping, trying to induce a take because these fish are super predatory and they're voracious, and when they hit, it almost yanks the rod out of your hand.
Nice.
I have been fishing Dorado since I was a kid. I have always been fascinated by the power.
Buena.
Good job. He's right there.
Ahora que para rápido, Martín, no te va a caer de culo, ¿no?
It's just catching a steelhead on steroids.
Lindo, che. No es tan chico, ¿eh? Lindo. Guarda, que se engancha la línea. Dale.
No way, look at that
It
fish.
just runs and fights and jumps and jumps and fights and then fights again and then jumps again.